Hello, welcome to Satan Show. I am, the imposter, LOL Tack. From this episode, I will briefly talk about the formation of the Bridge Party. Its realization commenced to initiate the transition from the overseeing mercantilist religious scientific feudal Federal Reserve's global government system. The ones fashioned long ago by the original transcontinentalists that are continually extorting the lives from the past societies to the current world's citizens of today, only to create revenue streams for the reigning rulers and their forthcoming aristocratic heirs. Soon after the preliminary elections, the voters then bonded together in the new republic, reinforced by the foundation of the Council of Governesses. Thus, the free people enable the new independent northern and southern states to implement a cooperative of individual capitalistic nomadic individuals of the unified immense nation, throughout the continental hemispheres of the Americas and islands of the Antilles. A necessary coalition of Canadians, Americans, Mexicans, Antilleans, and South Americans that want to carry on a new positive social society for when the old world order collapses. The domino effect of currencies rapidly depreciating with the daily drafts of million-dollar bills, perfected to implode the modern fiat monetary systems. This concentrically deceives the natives for foreign people to steal all the arable land of the earth from the many, employing the forthcoming one global eugenic scientific quantum religion of the few. The foreseeable duped expendable populations following the new science cult, sent on future death cruises into the intense vacuumed heat of outer space, instead of Mars as guaranteed in the brochure. Nothing the transcontinentalists have schemed will come to pass or happen if we do not assist in its attainment, aiding the public television rabientists' visions to find fulfillment upon our approaching vistas. We make anything we want transpire, not them, procuring our minimum liberated standard of living fostered for our own attainable free from extortion future. Upon the horizon will be prosperity instead of the nightmarish robotic wastelands, the scientific priest show on every vivid version of 10 to 30 years from today, narrating terrifying fabrications labeled revelations, prophecy. No one can predict the impossible. All epochs are concurrent, lasting forever and beyond the ludicrous time travel theories or the foolish out-of-body hoaxes of the cultists. Therefore, when asking ourselves, which one will occur for the southern, Northern American continents and the natives spread throughout the interior land masses, the transcontinentalists' plans become more apparent. That is why so much money and time spent on each informational medium to stifle the plain boring truth from reaching the fantasizing people, sprawled over the entire planet. Again, if we do not do what the propaganda instructs every day, no perspective as they wish could transpire or appear without our apathy or help. Let the extortion governments default on the unpayable debts, and the slavery monetary depositories fall into fake bankruptcies of abstract insolvencies. The Bridge Party will be waiting after the denouement of the Grand Alchemy Mystery's failure to step right in and steer the countries back to affluence. Done within a real minimum standard of guaranteed free living, enhance with individualistic capitalism for advanced personal motivation. Once electing the new female governors and lieutenants of the individual states, the designated councils will call the United Armed Forces of the Republic back to the shores of the dual Americas. Securing the oceans, islands, and food supply for its entirety of people, before the transformation of agriculture back to thousands of small farms and ranches spread across the twin continents, traversing towards every horizon. There will be no time spent on revenge for antiquity's transgressions of national history, gossip, since we are all accomplices and accountable, aiding our own United States government in killing hundreds of thousands of human beings. Thus, we must have amnesty and citizenship for the entirety of the populaces. Without humane compassion, not at all implying love or understanding, tolerance is how we move forward to becoming a completely new ultramodern nation. We will construct and link innovative railways, providing ranch-to-consumer connections, as well as used for transporting new electric trucks and cars over the terrain on the high-speed interstate diesel locomotive trains. The trailing attached conveying flat cars undercarriage fitted with rotating pair of steel axle conductors and copper, built for generating power to charge the above anchored personal and professional vehicles. Tracks laid crisscrossing the two Americas north, south, east and west. Smaller passenger electric tube subterranean coaches, may be powered by atop ground level overhead solar panels during the daylight hours. In addition to, added vacuum assist throughout the tunnels would have forward suction pumps, bolstered with rear compressed air accelerators at night to speed commuters to their private destinations towards thousands of small towns and miniature cities. Many roadways parallel rivers and large streams, constructed in intervals. Low-level spillway dams with paddle wheels set in the concrete would provide electricity for the subterranean and above pedestrian passageways. Soon after there is little surface highway traffic, half of the divide, the north or south lane then converted to foot and hoofed clay-covered grass paths. This would provide the natural uninterrupted corridors necessary for pedestrian and fauna to interchange locations between the two American continents. Then both people and animals can do what is natural and migrate without fences or walls impeding their seasonal journeys. Providing public raised produce, ready to be picked from the vine or plucked off a tree along the non-motorized itinerant routes. If the migrating freeman's want the food, harvest it. If not, the area's inhabitants plow the vegetables under the soil to decompose for the next planting interval. We would not use slave labor, just volunteers that no longer have anything to protest in a near-perfect society. Today so many individuals work tirelessly over their own free time to halt little abuse, only bleeding themselves, as the system keeps rolling unsympathetically along. However, if reared properly, few animals would find themselves mistreated from their human owners, the responsible grown-ups cultivated correctly in the first place to anthropocentric adulthood. The succeeding without a cause PETA people could maneuver a tractor or bulldozer with their spare time. Most charities would no longer be necessary, providing the required personnel to staff and manage the free society. This private and professional consortium would operate in harmony with the demonopolized capitalistic lawful states' internal governments and public service programs. All that the Republic requires will have to be fabricated or homegrown between our own territories. The state's fiat currency would only hold value on our new nation's shores and nowhere else. Gold and silver should not be an option after the Federal Reserve and stock market planned collapse, subsequently afterwards replaced with common-sense confidence cash. We Americans can provide for ourselves just fine without having to borrow precious metals to replenish our temporarily depleted stores for the offshore purchases. Prepare for a short term of no services because of the false flag scare tactics employed by the federal transcontinentalists, rabbientists and religious leaders. They will say not only do we the reigning aristocrats provide accounting and logistics for global dominion, however so much more is unseen in the way we govern. Which is merely lies. It will not take much time before our armed forces will have control of the streets, skies, and seas for the America's citizens' safety. Then the people can begin to build new small cities and railways a distance away from the choking death megametropolises of the Catholic, Judaic, Islamist, and scientific internationals. We will quarry mines, forge steel, machine parts, and assemble all the implements necessitated for farming, ranching, construction, logistics, accounting and offensive/defensive military industries. The Bridge Party will return independence to the unified Republic of the Northern and Southern continents, again freeing the Americas and its multicultural people from debt slavery, extortion, or extermination. Then real opportunities thus opened for all including advertising, publishing, movie, music, medical, industrial, true objective science and anything else a skilled individual desires for a career or new company. The current public school system's design exercised only to find the most talented or beautiful of non-aristocratic children. If you are not well above average physically or mentally, the transcontinentalists have no use for you. The overwhelming majority of us fall under that not good enough for the system's elite institutional amalgamations. Everyone can see most children left behind today to fend for themselves as young adults, until eventually penniless retirees eating dog food, surviving on Social Security's pittance. The main reason the young pretty girls today strip or do porn for a living is to avoid that end. Selling their flesh is all that is remaining for a decent income in order to have some semblances of moderate modern-day luxuries. After the executive and legislative branches of the Federal Reserve's Washington, D.C. government is replaced by the governesses. Their councils will convene in Detroit to establish the oversight to create the new commerce bills and laws governing the general rules of being free South and North Americans. Found at the end of our lengthy searches during taxing reformation of antiquated imperial British laws. It is much simpler to start from scratch with justified reasoning fabricating new legal texts, than delving through the millions of documents to repeal nearly all the discriminatory codes and regulations. The Governess's Commodities Control Committee will set the prices of goods between the states of the Republic to regulate gouging and speculation. Nothing forced upon the people that will not secure their peace or prosperity. Eventually doing away with insurance, investment and commercial banking systems, all replaced with the new near-debt relinquished currency of the United States of the Americas. To fund the operation, the loans written to the private citizens, lent out in new moderated interest levied notes of the National Federal Government Bank of the Republic. However, the final say will fall on the separate states' own lieutenant governess, and their internal congresses and senates that each one have already elected through the modern-day local redundancies. Furthermore, individual capitalism will replace mercantilism amongst the state's citizens by demonopolizing all non-governmental institutions including corporations, religious organizations, universities, private schools, charities, scientific foundations, etc. Afterwards the states will equitably distribute the unclaimed assets to the local inhabitants that already staff the nearby establishments. Thus, no more wealth funneled away offshores, until the new monetary systems released devised and effected throughout the singular republic's states. For arable space conservation and downsizing the population, willfully done employing our judicial electorates in the same system we use for child custody and sharing the days of the week through holidays. The divorce courts enforcing the responsible party codes per counties and parishes, we could have 3 pairs of adults communally rear 3 juveniles between them. Within 1 generation having the republic's inhabitants until the population is under control. These are only suggestions to start dialogue for what we will do moving forward. We take the first steps to lay the groundwork for what we will accomplish. The people should not shoulder several more lifetimes to enact real change. Just journeying forward leaving the past gossip history alone, unequivocally, nothing new ascertained that has not already received several chances at consciousness. We are too mature and educated to live as savages any more under the extortion system of the ancestral mercantilists. All that I have written is attainable since we control our own fates. Work for the transcontinentalists' scientific feudalism or our future of freedom, those are our 2 choices today and every other until the drones are walking the streets of martial law. Thank you for listening to Satan Show. I am, the imposter, LL Tack.